Today we had a program here called Kathina Chivaradana ceremony this morning at 11 o'clock, and this is actually happens once in a year after the 3-month rainy season. And during the 3-month rainy season, all the monks, they spend the whole 3 months in one place, whether it may be monastery or any other place. They spend only once in one place throughout 3 months. So they are not supposed to travel, they are not supposed to go around unless it is emergency. So the reason they stay in one place was due to the rain. You see, those days during rainy season, if you walk during rainy season, a lot of worms will be killed, on the ground. So some of the monks in Buddha's time, not Buddhist monk, the other monks, some other religious or monastic monk. ये फैन लगा दो ना, तो मच्छर कम हो जाएगा ना, सबको थोड़ा लगा दो, क्यों बंद किया, लगा दो, यहाँ वहाँ पीछे भी लगा दो, हर जगह में लगा दो, 3-4 लोग जगह लगा दो, उपासिका लोगों को लगा दो, बंदे लोगों को भी लगा दो. Okay, so they used to, especially the Jains, the Jain tradition, Mahavira tradition, they were very particular about non-harming, non-violence, So they had this practice. And even the general Indian people, somehow they were non-violent, It's not just the Jains or just the Buddhists, but general Indian were non-violent in nature. So they saw Buddhist monk traveling even during rainy season, which resulted in harming many worms to the extent of killing as well. You see, so people started criticizing. They started saying, "Oh, why these monks? They are traveling during rainy season. Even some of the birds they don't travel, something like that." So this matter was brought to the Buddha, because people are saying like this. Then Buddha straight away said, "Okay, from today onward, let the monks stay in one place during the 3-month rainy season." Straight away he just said, just rule. It became a rule. You see. So this 3-month tradition was not initially started by Buddha, but it was an existing culture. And due to people's comment and people's convenience, or not convenient, I would say, people's view or culture. So Buddha was very considerate about the culture of the people, right? He was not disrespectful or disconsiderate about the culture of the people. You see, if walking during rainy season would really have been an issue, then the Buddha would have already, asked the monk to stay in one place during rainy season. But it was only after people started commenting, or not commenting but complaining, I would say, because comment can be there anyway, but like a complaint which were some sort of a cultural, it was more of a cultural complaint, you see. So Buddha gave that. So if you look at a lot of the rules that the Buddha gave to the monk, most of it were the result of people complaining about certain practices, certain activities, certain behavior, certain culture that the monks were involved in, or the monks were practicing. So the Buddha would just straight away give a rule. So that's the thing. So what I'm trying to say is that the culture is something that Buddha would always give importance to the people, the culture of the people. So Buddha didn't as such brought a new culture among the people, because his teaching was more about the inner aspect of human being, the happiness and misery of people that arises in the mind, inside of our mind, you see. So he was very much concerned about that, you see. That's why if you look at any country, wherever Buddhism was introduced, all the neighboring countries of India, because Buddhism started in India. Some of you may not be aware of that, because they think that Buddhism is a foreign religion or culture. Let me tell you that it started in India. It was started in India, in central India, the mainland, the central India, I would say. So wherever it went, you see, it became part of that culture. So if you look at all the countries around India wherever Buddhism was introduced, they retained their own culture. A lot of the culture, whether it is food habit, whether it is dressing, whether it is some of the festivals, whether, I don't know, a lot of other things. Language, of course, because a lot of them, in fact, some of them translated entirely into their language, and even the chanting, the prayer, they do in their own language after translating it into their own language. You see, this is what they do. So whether it is Tibet, China, Japan, Korea, or Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, or India, or Pakistan, Afghanistan, because Buddhism very much prominent in Afghanistan all the way till Greece, but eventually got wiped out, or sort of whatever reason for that it. So that's the story about this day. So after the 3 months rainy season, there was a story where one of the monk did not have the robe, this particular cloth. So as a result, she had nothing to wear, and it was embarrassing, right? So one of the lady, Vishaka Mata, she was the chief patron of the Buddha, the chief female patron of the Buddha. She built this Ubbarama monastery in Shravasti in North India. So she suggested Buddha that why not after every rainy season, why not we offer clothes to the monks? Why don't you give us that opportunity? So because Buddha was very particular, right, that the monk should not have extra robes, too many clothes. We are like very minimalist. Monks are very minimalist. They can't have at a time maybe maximum 2 to 3 robes. So then that's how the tradition went down, and after every rainy season, the people come to the monastery and they offer robe to the monk. 3 months, after 3 months of rainy season, for 1 month, after the 3 months of rainy season, in 1 month they can offer this robe, you see. So it's an offering day, kind of just a gift kind of thing, you see. Now in Diwali coming up, and so in Diwali it's all about gift, giving gift, and you have this culture now. Recently we had, giving gift to the ancestor, doing something puja for the ancestor. So I think something like that. It's like a giving gift to the monks, because in Buddhism the monks community play a vital role, in keeping the teaching of the Buddha. So the community of monks who are renunciate, which means they no more belong to their family. They have renounced, given up families. They stay in the monastery as a brahmachari, as a sannyasi kind of practice, and they do sadhana, meditation, teaching, trying to live a good life, pure life, and also helping others to lead a good life, happy life, pure life. You see? So this was the program today, this morning. So we had full lot of people, the whole hall was packed. So it was a nice program this morning, and I share all the punya that we have done this morning with all of you. May all the punya that has been performed this morning come to all of you as well. Okay. So today I would like to also share a small story from the Buddha's Buddhist scripture. So there was this story of 5 people. They came to the Buddha to listen to the Buddha, some teaching from the Buddha. They have heard about Buddha, so they want to just see who is this Buddha, what he is teaching, let me find out, be curious about that. Maybe some of you might also come like this today here. What is this Buddha temple? Let me see and go, something like that maybe. So, but interesting part of the story is that all these 5 had different characteristic. Different characteristic means they had different manner or different inclination, attitude, mindset, or they were all different, in their personality, in their attitude, like all of us are different, right? We are all same, but at the same time we are different. By default we are all same, but based on our action, based on our habit, we are all different. None of us are same based on our own action, but the core is same. We are all same, mind and body. Okay, so the first one, while the Buddha was teaching, the first one was sleeping, snoring or nodding, dozing, So it was just like this, snoring. So then the second one, he was scratching the earth, I think there was no tiles, so it was like a mud floor, I guess. So was scratching the mud in the floor, basically scratching the floor, the mud floor, I would say, Then this is the second one. The third one was catching hold of a tree and just shaking the tree. He was holding the tree and just shaking it, okay, like this, like a monkey, shrieking. This is the third one. The fourth one was looking in the sky, just looking in the sky. Again and again he was looking in the sky, interested in sky, And the fifth one was the only one who was attentively listening. Like all of you are listening, none of you are, shaking tree or sleeping. Of course, externally, but internally, I don't know where your mind is. Maybe your mind is here, or I don't know how much is your mind here. So he was attentively listening, at least, from the externally also. So Buddha's, one of the Buddha's personal attendant, Ananda Bhante. So Ananda Bhante, after these people left, after these people left, asked Buddha, Buddha, Lord Buddha, Bhagwan, when you were teaching, all these 5 people were doing different things. You might have observed. Yeah, I have observed, Then Buddha said, why? Why it is like this? Why there is so much difference? They look like a friend, so they must have some similar character, but they were all different. Why it is so? What is the reason behind this kind of personality that they are carrying? Each differently, each of one of them differently. Then Buddha said, it is because of their past habit. It is a strong past habit, He said, what is the past habit, Bhante? What is the past habit? So he said, the first one who was snoring, he was a snake in his past life. Because usually snakes, what they do, they just go to one, some kind of hole, just coil it, if not hole, they just coil itself and just sleep. As you might have heard, 6 months sleeping, eating something, and some 3 months or 6 months, whatever, hibernation, totally hibernate. You may be aware of that, you see. So because of that, he still have that snake attitude, snake tendency that they have. And the second one was who was scratching the earth. That man was a worm in this past life, insect, worm in his past life. That's why he always wants to go inside the earth. This is the second one. The third one who was shaking the tree, can you guess who he was? I'm sure you can guess it. Monkey only, because I only said like a monkey he was shaking, I don't know. So if you catch that word, So he was a monkey in his past life. You see, still that habit of shaking, because you see, as a monkey, whole life what he would do, jumping from one tree to another, all the time. So naturally, even now also, unknowingly that attitude is there, that tendency is there. So this is the third one. The fourth one who was looking in the sky, who he was? Can you guess? Yes, please. Farmer. Oh. Looking for rain. Okay. But farmer most of the time on the field. Sorry? Okay. No, but he was not farmer. Can you guess who was he? Bird. No bird. Because usually bird also, most of the time it is not looking the sky, it is looking ahead. Farmer always on the field. I see. Okay, maybe I have not heard of that bird, but maybe there, yeah. I see. Can you guess who you might have been? Any one of you? He was an astronomer. You see, always looking at the star and counting, all those Aryabhatta kind of person, who is looking at the sky. So, or modern day Elon Musk, So he was always, because very interested in the solar system, like that. The fifth one who was actually listening, he was a wise astrologer, it seems. He was an astrologer, wise, like good one, not like any random astrologer, but a wise astrologer. Because astrology was also a practice, I think today also. But he was a wise one. He was a good one. He was a good man. You see. So what we can learn, and Buddha also said, okay, this is of course because of habit, but why these habits are built up, Then Buddha said only three things, greed, hatred, ignorance. If you have too much greed, hatred, or ignorance, then this thing will happen. Now, of course, we cannot say which profession is good or bad, because say they are doing, say, one of the astronomy. He was astronomy, but it is not because he was he was into astronomy. It is not because he was astronomer, but it was because of greed, hatred, and ignorance. So, if we cannot focus on something, if you are not able to focus on something, for example, monkey is always jumping here and there. Once always looking for something, always looking for some food maybe. Snake always wants to sleep, you just eat and sleep. Something you want to eat and sleep, So now what we can learn, what we can take away, what we can understand from these, some of these things is that like things like, for the first one, the sleeping part, which is laziness. Buddha said is one of the hindrance. The laziness is one of the hindrance for our growth, you see, which is like postponing, procrastination, So laziness. So we have to really see whether we are lazy or not, like a snake, you see. Snake, if you are too much lazy, then the chances are that you may be born as a snake also. There is a chance if you are too lazy, you see. So, and also it is an obstruction, it is a hindrance for our growth. So we should not be lazy, we should not postpone, we should be active, we should be. And how can we be active when we have something to do? And how can we be doing something? How can we get this idea of doing something? It will come when we have certain objects, when we have certain understanding, certain goal to achieve. And how does that goal come into our mind? When we have understanding, when we know that I need this, I need to do this, I need to do that. When it really comes from your own heart, from the depth of your heart, when you know that it is my goal, it is what I need, it is what is good for me, we have to really figure it out. You have to really figure it out. And this figuring out cannot just be clear always. It also needs constant fueling, constant fueling. And that constant fueling can happen when we read a lot, when we hear a lot, when we discuss, when we hear, basically gaining knowledge, We have to keep on fueling ourselves with knowledge, because we have still the tendency to forget. We just forget. But there is no need to worry if you forget. We again fuel it. Again we read. Again we give fuel or fill ourselves, or we consume more and more knowledge. So more knowledge is very powerful. So you see, from knowledge, that's one of the reasons why you are listening to Dharma today. And in the story, if you look at, the main activity was listening to Dharma, which means listening to knowledge, wisdom. But you see, they were not listening. And because of their habit, you see. And so sometimes you say our own habit is becoming obstruction for our growth. So laziness is one thing. Secondly, this, if you look at the worm, it's always it's about greed. The worms, it signifies greed, because it always wants to always wants to say take delight in things that are not really worthy, which means like if we are like always a person who is always seeking pleasure through the materialistic means, you see, which means that of course we can enjoy ourselves, it's not about that, but if we just depend ourselves entirely on materialistic for our happiness, then that is the wrong path. This is the wrong kind of path, you see. So we really need to also, think about developing the mind as well. Like through meditation or through teaching, learning, hearing, you also enjoy. You also take delight, take pleasure in your in your mind, in developing the mind, things like peace, stability, joy, those kind of things through meditation, what they taught today. So you can actually gain lot of enjoyment or delight from meditation. But then some materialistic thing we do need. It's not bad, materialism is not bad. But if you only depend entirely on the materialistic things for your happiness, then it is not possible. It is just not possible. You see. So that is the third, this worm. Then the bandar, this animal, monkey. So with regard to monkey signifies restlessness, not focusing on one thing, you see. So when you are doing something, you have to try to focus on one thing. Now you may think about, when I'm really doing something really important, then I need to be focused. But focus is not just about when you are really doing something important. Focus is about every moment of your life, every activities of your life, or every engagement, every moment, I would say in short, as simple as eating food, So we need to try to be with the food, we need to feel the food, we need to sort of really with the food, eating, In the same way, any activity we do, we should try to be there. We should not jump too much from one thing to another, which means like you are doing one thing, but then your mind is in three different things. It's not going to help. It will never help. It's like a monkey, So monkey mind, jumping. So that is also one of the obstruction that we need to look at, So one thing at a time, trying to do, and of course meditation again helps us to just, because you might have observed when you are meditating, your mind keeps on running around, your mind just goes around. So what we try to do is we bring back on the breath. We again and again bring back on the breath. So if your mind is too much wandering, then you must understand that some monkish mind or monkish element is there inside you see. So that is a monkey. The fourth one, the astronomer. So what we can understand from the astronomer is always looking in the sky, you see, not on the earth. But we are living on the earth, you see. Earth is our reality actually. The space is not so much our reality if you look at, which means we are often always looking something outside of us, right? We always think, as the saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is greener on the other side, So we always think that some other person is happy. I'm not happy, the other person is happy. And when you see the other person more happier, you become more sadder. Thinking that I'm really, something must be wrong with me, something like that. But then other person think you are happy. They think you are happy. You see? So we must give up this thinking that happiness is lying something there. Now, at one point we were thinking, people were like all rushing to Canada, USA. Now they are saying, no, again come back to India, is much better. You see? So you go to, whatever you do, you will always find that something else is greater, something else is good. But actually, what you are doing, you can do great and you can do marvelous, you see. Of course, that doesn't mean that you also look for something else, but what I'm trying to say is that we have to try to see something in our own self, in our own activity. When we say in ourself means your mind, your thinking, yourself, and your people, your action, your job, your activity, your company, or whatever it is. You have to try to see something good, something greatness, and try to focus on that, you see. So, you see, now that astronomer thing, so always look in the sky, in the space, you see. So that's the significant. And the final one, the astrologer, who was actually, if you look at astrologer, it is more connected to our life, right? So like, okay, when this will happen to me, when that will happen. It's more connected to you. But as compared to astronomy, the astronomy, it is more about something in the sky, something far. But astrology is more connected to yourself, Of course, in Buddhism, Buddha never taught about astrology, but still, astrology as a subject, if it is properly, done, may be good. I feel, maybe okay. But sometimes it creates more fear and anxiousness. So it's something that is prone. Sometimes it is better to avoid also. But at least that person was more wise. He was wise. He was wise in the sense he was not lazy, he was not restless, he was not too greedy, and materialistic in nature. In other words, I would say over materialistic, because materialism is also not a bad thing, but over materialistic, I would say, so he was not that. So what he was just doing his thing in the best way possible, and trying to build the happiness within himself, by doing things in a good way, in the best possible way, that's what we, I think, need to do, the astrologer here in this part. So then Buddha said that if you see, when you figure out, when you find out some of your own habit, so it's also about habit, you see. All of us may be having some habit, some major habit, so we need to try to work with that, you see. So really, when we try to do that, then we will eventually be more free, right? Because if you are under certain strong habit, so you are under the control of that habit. You are not the master. You are the slave of your own bad habit, very wrong habit. So that's what also we can see in this story, that how the habit continues. And see, the importance of looking at habit is that it continues. In the story, if you look at it continues. Even as a human being, some of those characteristics was there. Why? Because the whole of life the monkey was shaking the tree. It became such a strong thing that even as a human being, even after death, being